Darkness has fallen across the city of Necrotia, or at least what passes for darkness. It has been many years since the sun had shone upon the spires of the city, and an ever-gloomy atmosphere hangs heavy within the air. Volkov cares little for this, but even now as he finishes drawing the sigil, he can feel the darkness enclose around him. Boris stands by him with a sense of foreboding and distaste. He breaks the uneasy silence.
My lord, this is not advisable. Not even myself and the dark mages are bold enough to draw upon the powers of this entity. You are paving the way for your own destruction.
I am well aware of what I am doing, Boris. They don't refer to this as the impossible sigil for nothing, you realize. I know exactly who it will bring forth before me. They and I have crossed paths before. This will not be the first time in my life, nor their existence.
You know them? You survived the encounter? How long ago was this? How did you survive?
That is for me to know. However, I can tell you are going to ask me how I know so much about the summoning sigil that would drive most men insane if they attempted to draw it. The answer to that is simple. I'm the one who created it.
You created it? That explains how its design and its attachment doesn't faze you then. You must have included a great amount of safety and control into it.
More than you could ever realize. This is no ordinary sigil. It's a combination of hundreds of others created to merge the other powers into the ultimate power. Now, gather your fellow dark mages, light the candles, and we shall begin.
As you wish, my lord.
we ran to there, we ran that. Oorzus is dat woord na. Swapse store wat van de woord af, zie slippy slippy. Mother. Here's the stops here, fell. Oops, that we went our shit up. My little here. Stop for the first foot. Stop east, close to the meow. Healerem. Oh, by the power of earth, by the power of air, by the power of fire eternal, and the waters of the deep, I conjure thee and charge thee, Chimera. Arise at my command, Chimera. 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 To summon the great and powerful Chimera, overlord of all demonic life forms. I am Volkov. I called you here. I, the one who created your protective seal, do call upon you, O mighty Chimera. Volkov, at last. It has been too long, old friend. Is the time upon us? Speak! The time is close at hand, and we shall be in such a position that we will be able to take this world and plunge it into eternal darkness, with you in control. And as promised, you as my most loyal general marching at the head of my combined vampire and demon army. Invincible, unstoppable. My regent upon this world whilst I traverse the cosmos, looking for other conquests. I do, however, ask that you grant me your knowledge and your power. Why? So that I may understand the plans of the Tyrant King for his return. If I am to wear his crown as your regent, I must know his plans. I consider myself superior to the Tyrant King, that is true. He was easily defeated centuries ago by Vander Mindstorm, and now he shall be defeated again by the Volkovs. There is another here of your race who may wear the crown. I believe he is known to you on a familial level. He will be dealt with in due course. I already have plans for his demise and ultimate destruction. Yet he lives for now. I would speak with him. I think not. He is of little consequence to you or your plans. Take care, Volkov. With your few pitiful grains of knowledge, you have summoned me here. But remember that I am not your slave, and you are not immortal. Vampires have a level of immortality. However, I fully accept and understand your warning. It is best to remain on a level of cordial allegiance unto you. You're wiser than you appear, Volkov. Your willpower is strong too. I admire that in you. Since our first meeting when you agreed to design the protective sigil, I knew you would be my chosen representative upon this world. Then I shall lead with your guidance. I would ask, however, that I shall be permitted to promote one of my own to become my second in command. I am unable to rule without strong counsel. I shall consider this. Now, I shall return when the time is right, and I have made my decisions upon your requests. When shall I call upon you once again, my Lord Chimera? When the moons are in conjunction above the grey mountain, when the seas sparkle silver under the stars, and the sky burns with a greenish hue, then you will know to summon me. Look towards the shadows for guidance, and they shall give you the mark to act upon my calling. I understand. Do you have any final instructions before you return to your realm that I must follow upon between now and for the second summoning? I do not. But remember, do not let the vampire hunters discover this plot. You must ensure that they are brought down before I am able to return to full power. Can you assure me that they will be gone, that the vampires will have ended them for good? I can assure you that they will not be a threat to the vampire, nor the daemon. They will be destroyed quickly and efficiently by their own hand. We are already working on turning the monarchy against them, and therefore sealing their destruction. Very well. I am most satisfied with that answer. Now, I must go. I shall return, and you now know the sign for when to summon me again. I have already made that quite clear. I understand, my lord. I shall speak with you again in the future.
So, that's it then. All we do now is wait. What good will that do for us? We need to be active.
Of course. And we have the Blood Harvest Ball to think about now, to keep us completely occupied. We have much to do.
But, my lord, surely we need to focus on the other picture. Perhaps it would be better to postpone the ball. We need to be much more active in the community outside of Necrotia.
We are already active in the community. We have vampires in District 13 of Ondar City, and Maximus is on the road with his caravan spreading false rumors about the vampire hunters. Everything is working according to the plan we have in place. Time is running out for the monarchy. Volkov has awoken a power beyond the imagining of anyone in the monarchy. A pact has been sealed and the destruction of the monarchy assured. A greater darkness looms over the city of Necrotia than ever before seen by its people. They, however, do not lament at it. In fact, they welcome it, they celebrate it, they desire it. For it is such a darkness that only the most powerful of vampires yearn for. tavern in the city of Taros. A storm is raging outside, but within it's warm and welcoming. You sit down at a table, only to be approached by a well-dressed figure. He addresses you and begins to tell you his reason for being there.
Well, first of all, it seems an introduction is in order. I go by the name of Dante. I am a member of the secret order known as the Ordo Interitum, better known as the Vampire Hunters. Seriously, my friend, I am part of the group dedicated to bringing down Lord Volkov and his kind entirely. You and I are quite safe to speak here. This is a safe house for my people. Everyone you see here is a vampire hunter, even the barkeep and the servants. Vampires only see an empty plot of land, nothing of importance. Such is the magic that we have placed upon this location. You seek evidence of this truth? Look around you. You'll see all the evidence you need for this to be true. Either way, it doesn't matter. We are not here to admire the trinkets and trophies around us. I am here to speak with you of a little proposition. That's correct. You are not a member of the Ordo Interitum, but you have your uses to us as an unsuspecting figure. We need someone who can carry out an infiltration for us. Gather some information, perhaps. Oh, it's very simple. We just need you to attend a ball. A very specific ball in a very specific city. The city, you ask? Well, I have to be very honest with you. The city we need you to infiltrate is Necrotia. Hesitation is not an option, my friend. My order knows of your endeavours, and we therefore offer you clemency if you work for us. You have very little choice, my friend. If you wish to avoid the executioner and the noose, then you will accept my proposal. Very well. I'm glad we've taken this time to speak. You've made a most wise decision. A pardon shall be granted, but only on the successful completion of your task. Should you fail, you had better hope the vampires deal with you first. Good. Now, here is your task. Lord Volkov is preparing for a grand ball in a few months. However, we have had word that he has begun to prepare for it in advance, much to the surprise of his council. Therefore, we wish for you to pose as a vampire servant, thus gaining access to the palace. From there, you will be our eyes and ears. Oh, I wouldn't worry. We have a turncoat within the palace who will assist you. Keep watch for them, as they will be key to your communication with us. We have promised to cure their vampirism, and when we do, we shall gain their allegiance and knowledge of the enemy. If you so wish, we can make you a permanent member of our group also. You may trust in that. We can always find tasks and missions for the more discerning members who show enthusiasm and tactful thought. Then it is agreed. We shall meet again, but only when your mission is complete. I will expect your first report in due course. Now go and ready yourself. When you arrive, ask for the one named Treya, who will help you throughout. You have no time for questions. Go, and do not return until you have completed your mission, or your destiny with the executioner shall be fulfilled. And allow me to inform you that it will be more than just a hanging. Meanwhile, in the city of Necrotia, the palace is a hive of activities. Servants are rushing around and preparing for a grand event. Members of the household and the courtiers are busy with other duties and plans. Meanwhile, Boris has a concern to raise with Lord Volkov. He seems somewhat agitated at everything that is happening around the city, and wishes to address his lord and master of this.
My lord, what is with all this movement? The grand ball to celebrate the blood harvest is still not for a number of months. We have yet to send out invitations.
Boris, you are unable to see the bigger picture. There will be food to prepare, and I for one want to give the most lavish and delectable feast our guests will ever encounter. Washed down, of course, with the finest stock from the reservoir.
That is all well and good, my lord, but the cost alone is going to be high. We need to be able to convince the remainder of the Vampire Council that this is beneficial to the city. Such preparations taking place so early could cost you the leadership of all vampires.
You are doubting that I have already taken that into consideration. The council is on my side. I have made sure of that. They know when to listen and obey me. They may each have their own agenda, however. They know that to be with some of the most elite and influential vampires in the monarchy will help this city become even more powerful.
I never understand how it is this city is not the center of all vampire activities. We are known to be a vampire stronghold within the monarchy. It is very much an open secret. The vampire hunters would very much like to be able to find an entrance into the city, in fact.
The vampire hunters are none of my concern, Boris. They are merely a group of wanton troublemakers who simply wish to disrupt vampire control. They are hardly worth concerning yourself over.
My lord, I have no doubt that my concern is of little consequence to you, but as the leader of the Dark Mages, I must advise caution. We can only protect the city for so long under circumstances that we can control. If they overwhelm us with great numbers, we will not be able to withstand such an attack.
Then be grateful that the Ordo Interitum is small in number. They are lesser than the Assassin's Guild, which I might add will be of great use to us. Send word to Corvus and inform him that I wish to arrange a meeting with him, or at least one of his lieutenants.
I understand, my lord. I shall send word straight away.
Before you leave, Boris, I have one more important matter to attend to.
My lord?
It has come to my attention that you are indeed rather busy and may need some time to deal with your personal concerns. That is why I have called upon one of my personal scribes to assist you in your duties. You will continue to advise me and remain on the council, and you will also remain as leader of the Dark Mages. This individual will carry out the menial tasks for you, allowing you to attend to your important duties. When you have ample opportunity to put them to work, I suggest you do so without fail.
I am grateful, my lord, that you take my welfare into account. I have some private matters to attend to, so I shall leave my new assistant with you for the moment. Upon my return, I shall have work for them.
Scribe. So, with you in the position I have placed you within, I will be able to keep watch on Boris all the time. You are to report to me everything he does. If what I suspect is true, he is betraying me and the remainder of the Vampire Council. I grow tired of his presence. I believe it's time for the Dark Mages to have a new, stronger leader, one who is truly loyal to me. Exactly. We need evidence. That is where you come in. Build up his trust, and when the time comes, see if he will allow you to join him on his private matters. If there is any truth behind the rumors, and all the Dark Mages are involved, we must then remove all of them. This vampire city can survive and will survive without them. I have vampires just as capable to perform defense rituals. That is true. Boris is a vampire, but he is the only Dark Mage vampire. That is why I am unable to fully trust the other members of his circle. They are a mixture of other races, though Boris is the closest to being human without actually being one. That is none of your concern. Now, be gone and await instructions from Boris or myself, whichever shall come first. Remember, however, no matter how many times you report to Boris, you will always report to me. Do I make myself clear? Good. Now leave and return to your duties. It seems Volkov has plans for his fellow council member, Beardsvold Boris. Trust has become an issue, and that is something that Volkov does not take lightly. The time has come for him to take much-needed action. Although, with an agent of the Ordo Interritum on their way to Necrotia to spy for their new employer, things are about to get much more interesting, but much more complicated. Even more so when there is a possibility that a third faction may be involved. You sent for me? Oh, well, here's a turn up for the books. Surprised to see me, Orion. Or were you expecting someone else? Well, when I was told someone of somewhat significant standing wanted to see me, I was half expecting it to be Corvus himself. I am one of his lieutenants after all. Corvus doesn't have time to deal with anyone these days. Believe me, I've attempted several times to reason with him to talk. I need sponsorship for my caravan project after all, and Corvus is the one who can provide it. And what would you offer in return? You won't sponsor anything without an agreement being forged. I have my offers in place. He just needs to communicate with the right agreement, and I will be able to make my move. You sound as if you want to take over. You aren't going to try and take over, are you? Corvus is quite safe in that regard. I don't have time to think about leading a bunch of low-life scum when I have enough to deal with myself. I wouldn't call your dancers low-life scum, Maximus. That's doing them a great dishonor. I'm not calling my dancers anything. It's the encampment labourers that travel with me. The ones that do all the heavy lifting, the setting up the marquee, that sort of thing. They're the low-life scum I have to deal with. At least the costume department, the catering, and the other important areas are much more trustworthy. But that's beside the point. We're getting distracted. Of course. We need to remain focused and open-minded. For what reason and purpose have you called upon me? As a lieutenant of Corvus, I want you to take a message to him. Something he needs to know that could make me and him a small fortune. I'm listening. Go on. Lord Volkov is hosting a grand ball in Necrotia in a few months' time. I've heard about that. Apparently it's going to be absolutely lavish. Kindly don't interrupt me. Now, where was I? Yes. Lord Volkov is hosting a grand ball in Necrotia in a few months' time, and he has already begun the preparations for it. Now, there's rumours that have reached me that a member of the Ordo Interritum will be going undercover as a servant to spy for the vampire hunters. I really don't see how this has anything to do with the Shadow Court. I'm getting to that. Now, I know that Corvus has a dislike for the vampire hunters, as they take out his most profitable contacts and business partners. Without the vampires, he has very little business. Well, that's true. So, what are you saying? That with my help, we can get a member of the Assassin's Guild into the city of Necrotia and take out, or at least expose, the vampire hunter's spy. They may not even have to be involved in the taking out of the agent, as the vampires can do it themselves. Then your assassin can slip out of the city without anything falling onto the Shadow Court. And what if Corvus doesn't agree to this? What if he wants to go down a different pathway towards dealing with the Ordo Interritum? Orion, let me tell you now that by taking out a single spy within Necrotia will not only get Lord Volkov on the defensive, it will also increase the influence of the Shadow Court within the city. More people will wish to do business, and healthy business is beautiful business. I see. And when do you wish to undertake this mission? How long will it take? How many assassins do you need? Well, we only need the one assassin. We don't need to go in all flintlocks blazing. My suggestion is that we take it slowly. A slow burn mission. Yes, that's it. Then we strike when the vampire hunters least expect. That way we have them on the back foot. However, here's the really clever piece.
we make out that the assassin is also a member of the Ordo Interroitum. We can then turn them against one another and cause the collapse of the entire organization exclusively via deceit and manipulation. We don't need to spill a single drop of blood ourselves, as they will do it for us.
I don't know how you do it, but somehow you've convinced me, Maximus. I shall return to Corvus and express your proposal. I imagine he will be most intrigued and keen to create this somewhat small but effective alliance between us and the vampires. We shall speak again soon, Maximus. Have no doubts.
Oh, I have no doubts about that, Orion. I have no doubts about that at all. So, it seems that many other factions are becoming involved in this little endeavour, and things are becoming much more complicated than first realised. What will become of the vampire hunters' agents? Will Lord Volkov and his vampires discover the truth? Or will Maximus and his scheme hinder the progress of those who lay their life upon the line in the name of safety? Only time will tell before the truth is revealed, and sometimes the truth is much stranger than fiction.
We're several months to go before the Blood Harvest Ball, and preparations and planning already underway. It seems that an unexpected early arrival has set the palace of Lord Volkov alive with excitement. The dashing and mysterious vampire by the name of Valner has arrived. He gives off an air of arrogance and self-importance that virtually every single vampire carries. However, his is combined with a sense of smug self-satisfaction, knowing that he is one of the few vampires ever to outsmart Maximus. Though he is disappointed his rival is nowhere to be seen.
Jericho! Good to see you, my friend. It's been a while since we last spoke.
Valner, I won't pretend to be pleased to see you. Your arrogance even makes me want to retch when you enter the room.
Always the joker, eh, Jericho? That's the spirit. Oh, don't growl. It's most unbecoming of you. Your face will stay like that if the wind changes. Wait, it already has. Say, where's Maxie boy? I wonder why I can't smell his unmistakable stench upon my arrival. Imagine he heard I was coming and decided to hide. Can't say I blame him. Not much of a life as a beast tamer. Oh, wait. He's got that new endeavour, hasn't he? That caravan of dancers. When I heard old Maxie had finally hit the big time, or what he believes to be the big time, I almost felt an ounce of pride, but I'm not surprised to say I didn't in the end.
Valner, do you ever take a moment to shut up? Your voice grates upon my mind like the skin of a sand viper, rough and jarring as it pulls across the skin. That burning sensation that it creates.
You wound me, Jericho. You could at least compare me to a more desirable creature, perhaps. One with beauty and grace.
I suggest you actually do shut up now, before I take the absolute pleasure of shutting you up myself. You may be a fellow vampire, but that doesn't mean I can't treat you in the same manner I treat many of my prisoners. Just
Listen. So you see, Valna, I am not afraid to take you downstairs and beat the arrogance out of you.
Oh, bless. Does little Jerry want to play downstairs in his whittle prey womb?
Valna, enough. General, return to your duties. I shall speak with Valna myself.
Arriving at the right time as always, my lord. Valna should consider himself very lucky that if it had been a minute later, I would have hauled him downstairs.
I am certain he is most grateful for my timely arrival, although I find it hard to believe that he is grateful for anything we do for him in this city. Leave us so that I and Valna can talk.
My lord.
Volky! Volky, Volky, Volky. Steady, old man. You're likely to do yourself harm if you keep reacting this way.
Valna, might I remind you that I am the leader of all vampires. This is my palace, and in my presence you shall always refer to me as my lord, or as I would prefer, father.
You're no fun, just like all the others here. And where's little Maxie? I hear he's hanging around with dancing girls. Guess that says a lot about him these days.
If you are to know, Valna, that your brother Maximus is working on a special mission for me. The caravan is his cover story as part of his task. Without it, he is unable to freely travel from city to city to spread our message to other vampires.
Sounds to me you sent him on a fool's errand to remove him from this place. He always was a no-good layabout.
If anyone is the no-good layabout in this palace, it's you, Valna. Maximus has been more productive and much more useful to me than you have ever been. Your play prince lifestyle does you no good. Is it true that you've joined the Hedonist Council?
Do you really think, Father, that I would join the Hedonist Council? Do I look like the sort of vampire who would do such a thing?
Let me think. In a word, yes. Valna, you have disappointed me too many times, and now you join the Hedonist Council to spite me. You need to be more like your brother Maximus and make yourself useful to me.
Why must I? He's the next in line to your sordid little empire. He's very much the one I know you want on your throne if you are ever taken out. So in response to that, I say here and now that I defy you, Father. I defy your every word, every command. I am my own vampire, and I shall see it remains that way. How do you respond to that, Father?
Exactly what I wanted to hear. Jericho, bring in the machine.
Father, please, no, not that, not that, anything but that. No, please, no, anything, not machine, no, please.
You have given me no other option, Valna. I will have you as obedient as Maximus is. The only difference is that his obedience is natural. Oh, don't misunderstand me. He goes against me from time to time, but there is always method to his disobedience, and I am able to see it for the benefits it brings us here in Necrotia. But you, my son, you are something else.
The machine is prepared, my lord.
Good, Jericho. Take my wayward son and place him inside. We shall change his mind. Before too long, he will want to work closely with Maximus. On my command, activate the machine. Volkov gives the nod, suddenly and without warning. The machine clicks into action. Inside, Valna can be heard screaming, disproving an age-old belief that vampires can't feel fear or even scream. However, such is the design of the machine, it instills fear and a sensation of some form of pain that vampires experience. The machine works quickly and with great cleanliness.
The process is successful, my lord.
Good. Release him and let us see what we have.
Father, I return from my travels to serve you upon your counsel.
Good. Maximus is working out in the field undercover on a special mission. I will instruct him to send correspondence to you.
I understand, my lord. Is he aware of my return to Necrotia?
He is not, but I shall make him fully aware of it. I doubt he will believe what I have to tell him, but I am certain in time he shall learn of certain events once he sees them for himself.
I understand, Father. I shall attend to my duties and see to it that the proper correspondence is prepared.
Good. Oh, and Valna, I put it to you to seek the end of the Hedonist Council. They have become a thorn in my side, and I am unable to tolerate their presence any longer. See to it that our finest assassins are dispatched to remove them all.
It shall be done, my father. They invited me to join, but my loyalty to you is absolute. I will not accept such debauchery and corruption to exist within this city. We shall put an end to it.
Very good. Oh, and Valna, I want you to assist in overseeing the preparations for the Blood Harvest Ball. I need as many of the council members as I can find to help me. General Jericho is already in command of the safety of our guests, but I will find you a position to hold.
I graciously accept and welcome the opportunity.
Thank you, Father. Now, I must go. I have much work to be done. From play vampire to dutiful servant in a matter of minutes. So satisfying, and to think he will help me to bring down his former friends in the Hedonist Council. Jericho.
Yes, my lord.
See to it that Valna is given a trustworthy bodyguard, but one that I can trust. If something goes wrong and he somehow manages to return to his old ways, we need to dispatch him quickly, and I can't have a guard upon him who will fall to his lies and deceit.
I shall see to it right away, my lord. I will personally bring his new bodyguard to him myself. I have the very vampire for the task. If you will excuse me, my lord, I shall attend to that matter immediately.
Indeed. Thank you, General. Well, well. You certainly turned the tables on old Valley, didn't you, Father? I'm impressed you actually managed to do it, and without much resistance either. How long have you been there in the shadows? Long enough to see you put him through the process. I admit I felt his pain, but when it's the pain of your own sibling, I guess it's only natural to feel such a connection. It was necessary to do so. He has become too much of a liability as his natural self. Oh, I don't have any doubts about that, Father. What with him being a member of the Hedonist Council, or at least a former member. I seem to recall you are a former member of the Hedonist Council too, however, Maximus. Although your sudden withdrawal did make me wonder why you joined them to begin with. They hold knowledge of 2 items. One I already have in my possession. The other I'm still searching for. Ah yes, the Amulet of Recognition and of course, the Crown of the Tyrant King. During my brief time with them, I learned it was they who forged the crown for him. No one else wanted to. He made a pact with them, you see. In the agreement with them, he would grant them power of their own. However, it turns out he did the dirty on them. You know I don't like that phrase. did the dirty. It's so unbecoming of a vampire. Remember where you are. I've been amongst humans for a long time in my search. However, it is necessary to do so and to assimilate with them, so I'm not conspicuous. I understand. However, you are telling me about their knowledge of the crown. Well, there's not much else to tell, but I did learn how the crown can be destroyed. If it is destroyed, it kills the Tyrant King instantly, but the power the crown holds is eternal. His spirit will be gone, but his powers remain. Once the crown is repaired after destruction, the wearer will gain its power without fear of being possessed. This is interesting news, and one that will change the fortunes of the vampire race for centuries to come. Indeed, but for now I must return to the caravan. Agreed. I shall bid you well, Maximus, and you will receive correspondence from your more obedient brother. Till we meet again. Till we meet again, father. Volkov now has 2 obedient sons, one on the road who is searching for the crown, and one previously a play prince but transformed into something more dutiful to work with his father and brother. With new revelations regarding the power of the crown, Volkov may have a new announcement to make at the Blood Harvest Ball later in the year. This is pivotal time for the vampires as they begin to build their power to greater levels. The invitations are yet to be sent out and the slaves chosen for draining into the reservoir, though plenty will be needed. Thanks of course to the spawn mothers in the caverns beneath the dungeons of the palace, there is always a healthy supply. Volkov feels a strange sense of satisfaction knowing that the vampires are one step closer to victory, and the Blood Harvest Ball will be the very place to make such an announcement. Whilst on the road with his performers, Maximus is ensuring word of the Blood Harvest Ball is spread to all fellow vampires of the highest standing along the way. Maximus has stopped off at a tavern on his return journey to Garrelos, where the caravan is currently located. His business in Drevin, that is to say, Necrotia, is now settled, and now he wishes to drink to the endeavour. Unfortunately for him, a particular individual has learnt of this somewhat prestigious event, and now they wish to muscle in, not yet realizing their former employer has agreed to become involved in the festivities. Barkeep, this ale is bland. I suggest you replace it on the house, or by the powers, I shall become very disagreeable. If you know what's best for you, Maximus, you'll keep your tone light. I understand a group of peacekeepers are on their way to Ondar City and need a rest stop. They've chosen this tavern of all places, and it would not be good for both of us if they found a fight taking place. I suppose you have a point. Besides, I'm in no mood this evening for a brawl. Look, just replace my ale with something that has a little more kick to it, and I'll find myself a nice quiet booth to doze off in. I'm happy if you're happy, Maximus. There you are. A nice fresh pint of ale for you. I can organise some food for you if you're interested. I imagine you'd like a bite to tide you over. No thanks. I grabbed a bit to eat when I reached Fort Titan. So that makes my last feeding about 2 days ago.
You managed to feed Fort Titan? How did you do it?
You'll be surprised to know that their garrison is perhaps somewhat more relaxed than many people realize. They don't seem to care about travelers, and if one perhaps disappears without a trace, they claim they don't have time nor the resources to investigate. All the better for a hungry vampire. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to take my pint, find a quiet booth, and have myself a snooze. If I'm able to get any peace. Maximus sits himself down with his back to the door. He hears the door open and the small entry bell ring that indicates to the barkeep that he has a new customer. However, the newcomer does not stop at the bar. Maximus can hear the figure walking over to his booth. And then the voice that fills him with pure anger drifts through the air.
Well, Maximus, I am so glad to see you once more. It has been a long time, my friend.
No, I don't want anything to do with you this time. I should have killed you when I had the opportunity. Letting you live has been one of the biggest mistakes I have ever made.
Maximus, you wound me so with your words. I have come here in good faith to give you my assistance, and you reject me in such ungentlemanly manner. You should treat your guests with greater respect.
You are the last person on this planet whom I would ever show any respect towards. You disgust me on so many levels. You are repulsive, arrogant, manipulative, untrustworthy, and perhaps the most annoying individual I have ever had the most displeasure of knowing. Good day to you.
That is quite the pity. I have something that might interest you greatly, perhaps even help to elevate you up to the higher levels of power and control in Drevin.
Now you listen to me, Rafik. I don't have time for your ridiculous games, nor your foolish ideas. Whatever it is, I am not buying, because remember this, and remember this very well. You work for me. I do not make purchases from you because whatever you have to sell is either stolen or acquired through grave robbing, and only one individual sanctions that amongst my kind, and that is Lord Volkov himself.
Then perhaps you can fill me in on the upcoming event. It sounds most exciting.
What upcoming event?
Why, the Blood Harvest Ball, of course. I hear there will be many rich, powerful and influential vampires present. I would so love to mingle amongst them, offering my services.
How did you ever come to know of the Blood Harvest Ball? It is not public knowledge, and only vampires are permitted to attend.
Oh, I have my methods. You forget I can be very, very persuasive.
You make me sick.
Tell me, will the lesser vampire kin be present? Or is it open to anyone?
You will have nothing to do with it, as far as I'm concerned. If I catch you within a mile of the city when the ball is at its peak, I will personally take great pleasure in gutting you myself. And don't think I've not fantasized about gutting you. Slowly.
But you need a man of business present. You forget that it is used to make business propositions and create financial transactions. It is the perfect opportunity to take on special tasks for the vampire elite. Believe me, Maximus, I'm needed there.
You are not needed anywhere. I suspected you might show your ugly face to me, and I have guaranteed Lord Volkov that you will remain away from the Blood Harvest Ball. Because, as I said, I will gut you like a fish.
I see. So I take it you will be on the watch for my presence. It really does appear you wish for me to stay away from the ball. Very well. I know when I'm not desired. But remember this, Maximus. You need me more than I need you. I can survive without you quite comfortably.
Oh, I think I'm going to survive quite well myself, without your ugly face anywhere near me. Now, I suggest you leave before I pick you up by the scruff of your neck and launch you out of here myself.
As you so wish, Maximus. However, I shall be present at the Blood Harvest Ball, whether you like it or not. I will find my way into the event, and I will make my line of business to your guests. You will be unable to stop me.
Rafik walks out of the bar. The barkeep moves over to talk to Maximus.
Who was that rather odious little man?
Just someone who likes to make my life difficult. He used to work for the Shadow Court.
Lord Volkov has allowed the Shadow Court into Drevin, hasn't he? Why didn't you tell your friend?
Because Corvus wants my friend's head on a silver platter, and I hope that I will be the one to give it to him. That's why I have placed down the gauntlet.
You mean you expected him to attend regardless of what you said?
If I know Rafik, he will move the mountains to get into something as important as the Blood Harvest Ball. Though he won't be having a grand time with the other guests. He'll be a guest of General Jericho until Corvus arrives to collect him. Maximus has a problem on his hands with the arrival of Rafik. Whilst the rogue is not considered a threat, he is a greater headache than Maximus makes him out to be. However, he is right that Corvus will want Rafik captured and handed over to him, so that he can be punished for betraying the Shadow Court. Meanwhile, in Necrotia, Lord Volkov has contacted one of his oldest and greatest friends. The Ancient One has arrived, and it is said he is the first true vampire. Volkov wants to make sure he is given the reception his guest deserves. It is good to have your presence once again in Drevin, my master. I trust you have kept well.
I have been restless as of late. Vladimir? I have received grim news that other factions are working against us.
You have genuine need to be concerned, my master. Although I have taken matters into my hands and dispatched supporters of our cause to handle against these other factions.
That reassures me greatly. You have always been my most loyal and truthful protege. I am glad I chose you over your stepbrother to to become leader of the vampires. Is he still around?
Who, my lord?
Your stepbrother, of course. I had it on good terms that he had settled within the city and had become a respected member of the Vampire Council.
My master, my stepbrother, was murdered about 200 years ago by agents of the monarchy. They turned him to dust using mirrors and magnifiers. I understand they captured him during the Battle of Taros. We considered mounting a rescue effort, but the battle cost us greater in numbers than we anticipated. We were not strong enough to form a rescue committee.
That is now the past. What is has happened, and what will happen shall happen.
I trust you will attend the Blood Harvest Ball, my master.
I, the Ancient One, miss out on a grand ball? Don't be ridiculous. Of course I shall be there. I have attended every grand ball held since the founding of this city over 7,000 years ago. Of course, you are far too young to remember the Antaeus Empire. The city was known as... Oh, now what was it known as at the time? Ah well, it doesn't matter. What matters is back then we vampires had greater influence than we do now. In fact, the Antaeus Empire was practically ruled by the vampires until the Great War that brought the empire to a destructive end. Drevin is not even the city it was at its founding, so it's pointless trying to make a comparison anyway. Besides, we lost everything at the end of the war, and when the Ondarian monarchy was founded over 1,000 years ago, we were forced into hiding. We've done so ever since until you arrived and took control of this city. The vampire race owes you a great debt, Vladimir.
I am honored to take on the mantle of leader of the vampires.
And so you should be, Vladimir. You always had the making of a fine leader, and I'm proud to have helped build up your influence. We need more vampires like you. I hear you have finally dealt with Valna too. Much more obedient, is he?
Much more, my master. The obedience machine worked a charm. He is now seated upon the council, though I have yet to find an official capacity for him.
Very good, Vladimir. And what of Maximus? Is he still your representative on the road? I hear he's formed a new caravan, though I hear he is not having much luck with recruitment for it.
The caravan makes the perfect cover story for his real mission. Though I admit, I would like to see him gain a few more recruits to help keep the capacity balanced. He has more workers than performers, and I believe some people are beginning to ask questions as to the validity of the group. It would undermine the cover story for his real mission.
I foresee that eventually they shall flock to him. These things take time. However, knowing Maximus as well as I do, he is tenacious. He is a showman. For all time I have known him, I have never seen him allow a setback to overtake him. He shall bide his time, no doubt, and when he finally receives the recognition he deserves, that will be when the big time shall strike rich for him.
Most eloquently put, my master. Most eloquent indeed. I feel Maximus would be most encouraged by your gracious words.
Now, tell me, what of my son? Does he serve you dutifully? Does he serve you with honor and respect?
The general is serving me well. I have granted him the highest honor as leader of my most elite guard. Only the finest vampires are chosen, and only those most loyal to me are accepted within its ranks, once they have proven their loyalty. I am delighted to know that Jericho is serving you well, Vladimir. I have high hopes for him. Such a position will teach him discipline. He is still young for a vampire, and therefore inexperienced in some of the finer forms of etiquette we are expected to undertake.
That is why I granted him the position of general. His mannerisms are, in all honesty, too rough for him to be accepted into polite vampire society. But his determination and military prowess has molded him perfectly to lead the vampire armies in the war that is to come. However, at this time, he is my personal bodyguard and my chief interrogator. I know he takes great pleasure in his latter duties. He has quite the thirst for causing pain.
That pleases me more than you could possibly imagine, Vladimir. And now I must return to my chambers to rest and prepare myself, though there is still time before the Blood Harvest Ball takes place. Several months, in fact. I wish to make certain that my mind is clear for all that tedious conversation that I will have to endure. At least you shall be present. I enjoy conversing with you, Vladimir. Farewell. I shall see you at the Blood Harvest Ball when it takes place.
I will be honored to see you there, my master. With the Ancient One having arisen early once again to make his presence known at the Blood Harvest Ball, Lord Volkov feels a sense of smug satisfaction. With his lord and master present, Volkov knows that his influence will increase at the event, due to the mind powers the Ancient One can wield. If Volkov could somehow hone those talents upon his fellow vampires, whose loyalty remains questionable, then he may be able to find out just how many are against his leadership, and who they really want in his place. However, this is not the primary purpose of the ball. After all, it's the celebration of the first tasting of produce from the reservoir beneath the city. Many slaves will be selected and drained for the pleasure and enjoyment of many a vampire, and not a single bite will be required. Though perhaps there will be some traditionalists who wish to take a bite once in a while from the servants. Volkov is somewhat unsatisfied at the moment. Whilst the preparation for the Blood Harvest Ball is progressing well, it seems one or two members of the Vampire Council are a little less enthusiastic about the endeavour. It seems Boris has decided to sow the seeds of dissent amongst some of the more senior vampires, proving Volkov's belief that his former friend is working against him. Therefore, Volkov has decided to take the guidance of one of his younger council members, and has approached Tarvek, a somewhat eager and obedient vampire who is willing to prove himself entirely. He enters the room and addresses Volkov in a strange, snake-like voice.
You wish to see me, my lord? Are you in need of my services?
Indeed, Tarvek. It seems Boris has somewhat betrayed me, and is currently working towards undermining me in regard to the Blood Harvest Ball. He appears to have turned some of the senior vampires against me.
And you need someone to return them to the fold. Is that your requirement?
I would send in Jericho.
However, I feel this should not be dealt with a heavy hand. I need someone with a level of influence, someone who can persuade them to return their loyalty to me.
I am honored that you require my skill. I assume there will be several individuals I will need to converse with.
Carrick, Aranax, and Strack. They are the three you will need to deal with. Remember that each one of them has specific desires. Play into that, and they will return their loyalty to me instantly. If not, remind them what happened to Harker.
That feels like such a long time ago. To think he and Boris worked together to bring the first victims of the blood harvest before the slaves had become ready. It feels so long ago.
It's a pity that Harker decided to turn against me. You know, of course, he is the only vampire to be part of the blood harvest, literally.
I never truly understood that, my lord, considering we don't have blood flowing through our veins. What did you drain him of as his punishment?
His vampiric essence. There is a special reservoir underneath the palace for such energy. Any vampire who betrays me in any way or form shall be fed to this reservoir, and upon a day of the Blood Harvest Ball, a selected number of vampires will be granted access to this gathered essence. Of course, as host, I gain first access.
That goes without saying, my lord. It would be ill-mannered of any vampire to place themselves before you and your majestic energy.
I would cease with the boot-licking, Tarvek. It's very unbecoming of you. Just promise me that you will speak with Carrick, Aranax, and Strack. Remind them who it is they really answer towards. If they refuse and continue to rebel against me, remind them of the palace reservoir.
It shall be done, my lord. I shall return with good news and loyal subjects once again.
See to it that you do. I grow tired of this situation. If we do not make sure we have it under control again, we could lose everything we have built over the centuries. Boris must not succeed in undermining my leadership.
Indeed, my lord. I shall attend to this matter immediately.
Meanwhile, Maximus has returned to Garrulus to rejoin the caravan. With it being still in its residency in the city, Maximus decides to do a little window shopping. His coin purse bulges with takings from the previous night's show. He knew it was a good idea to stop in the City of Culture. At least they appreciate what he is bringing them, unlike some of the other venues they are yet to travel towards. He spies a rather small, shabby but welcoming shop. Something about it seems familiar. He enters, and a face he has not seen for years greets him. It stops him in his tracks at first, as he thought this person long dead.
Ah, good morning, my friend, and welcome. Well, 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 look who we have in my humble little shop. If it isn't young Maximus.
Octavius Petrovich. It's been a long time. Does your brother know you're alive and well?
I very much doubt it. Not that I care about him. Last I heard, you sent in some rather excitable rogues. I'm surprised he managed to get out with his life.
He owes me over 100,000 krell. To be honest, I doubt he will pay up, which means every time we cross paths, your brother and I shall have quite the large amount of fun.
That I have no doubt about. If I cared about him, I'd pay his debt. I'm doing quite well on the black market smuggling trade. Unfortunately, I've had to swallow my pride and use the Shadow Court as my movers. However, they are quite unaware one of their best customers is in fact a vampire.
You know something, Octavius? I think we can use that network to my advantage.
Your advantage? How so?
Because of the Blood Harvest Ball, that's how. I need a reliable service to deliver invitations, but as my father pointed out, we're unable to use conventional methods. Too many questions would be asked. However, if we can use the Shadow Court to do the legwork for us, it would save us time. Cost is no object. My father says we can pay handsomely to anyone who is willing to accept the task.
But what if Corvus is aware of the Blood Harvest Ball? News of it spreading through our community like wildfire. Eventually it'll reach the ears of the vampire hunters who will no doubt do everything they can to put a stop to it.
Well, between you and this is only between you and I, Corvus already knows about the Blood Harvest, as do the vampire hunters. However, we have a plan in place to ensure that the hunter agent is taken down with the help of the Assassin's Guild. It is our intention to sow the seeds of confusion and discontent amongst the Ordo Interritum to plunge it into a civil war.
You've got it all worked out then. I guess Volkov knows more than he's letting on.
And just who have you been talking to about Lord Volkov?
Boris. He comes here every so often to purchase talismans and potions. Apparently he's working on one especially for Lord Volkov at the moment.
Is he now? Very interesting indeed. Thank you for that snippet of information. Very useful to me.
Have I said something wrong, Maximus?
Not to me, no. In fact, you said something that will work to my advantage very well indeed. But it will cost another vampire dearly. Very dearly, in fact. I think this is going to make the Blood Harvest Ball quite interesting and a lot more entertaining.
Oh, good. For a moment I was worried. Now, is there anything you'd like to purchase? I have a fine array of drinking goblets.
What about that dagger on the wall there?
Oh, what about this dagger indeed? It's a rare and expensive artefact, said to have killed General Clark in the final days of the civil war fought by the Tyrant King. Some believe this dagger belonged to the Tyrant King himself, in fact, though there is no proof.
Even if there is no proof, I'm interested. How much do you want for it?
25,000 krill is my price. A bargain if I'm honest. I've had to drop the price because when people ask its history, they suddenly lose interest. I thought 50,000 krill was too much in the end.
It wouldn't surprise me. Very well, wrap it up and I'll take it with me right now. I have a place in my personal quarters back at the caravan where it will sit with honour. Here's the 25,000 you ask for.
Right away, Maximus. I'm delighted I've finally been able to get rid of the wretched thing. feel like it's been plaguing my shop since I acquired it.
I wonder why.
Sorry, Maximus, did you say something?
Just thinking out loud. Now, hurry up with that dagger. I'm eager to put it on display immediately. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be on my way. Maximus steps outside and opens up the package to look at the dagger. He beckons over one of his personal caravan messengers, who has been waiting outside. I want you to go to Necrotia and inform Lord Volkov that we finally have the dagger. We'll be able to carry out the ritual at the Blood Harvest Ball as he anticipated. It will make it all the sweeter when we have the Ordo Interroitum agent as our prisoner. It is clear now that the dagger is significant to the vampires, but what is this ritual referred to by Maximus to his messenger? Why is it important it takes place during the Blood Harvest Ball? Will it even take place? Not even Maximus is certain, but it gives him peace of mind to know that if any other members of the Vampire Council have turned against his father, then the presence of the dagger will convince them otherwise, even if Volkov has had to gain the assistance of another to persuade them. However, a few days later in the city of Trigon, Geoffrey and Garen have received word that the Blood Harvest Ball is taking place, and that one of their most prestigious customers is requiring special equipment to be created for a new agent. This is a bad business, but we're not the only ones in it. When I received word that the vampire hunters were needing equipment for a new recruit, I nearly fell out of my chair. I thought they had all their recruits. Plus I thought they had their own resources to arm and protect their members. They didn't want our help here in Trigon. It seems those fools in Ondar City do want our help now. They know about our specialised forging techniques.
Well, what do they want specifically from us? How much are they willing to pay? Our services don't come for nothing.
They want the lot, Garen. They want armour and weapons. It appears they're sending someone on a fool's errand, right into the epicentre of the beast.
You don't mean?
Yep. They're sending their agents into the heart of Necrotia itself. To be honest, they'd be better off wandering into a den of Dinophants on 8.
Don't think I like the sound of that.
Well, how do you think I feel? The agent is bound to get captured, and our armour and weapons fall into the hands of the vampires. You know what that means if that happens. Volkov can reverse engineer our work and create armour and weapons for his own army. Just think, an entire force of vampires clad in Trigon-type armour. No, I'm not standing for it. We've come too far for it to fall into enemy hands.
Well, what are you going to do?
I'm gonna cut corners. We'll send them any old piece of armour, a lick of paint to create the crest, and a few quick weapon forges. Who cares if they fall apart? They only have to take out at least one vampire. We ought to make it appear functional during the demonstration stage. These vampire hunters need to be shown who's supplying them, and why they shouldn't make such demands upon us. They, being a brand new faction, has made them arrogant, forceful. As a proud, strong traditionalist, I won't stand for such upstarts telling us our job.
This is very much unlike you. Normally you take such pride in our work. You said it yourself that Trigon is one of the finest creators of armour and weapons in the Ondarian monarchy.
The only creators of armour and weapons in the Ondarian monarchy. However, as I've said, I'm not going to allow any damned vampire to take my work
and use it for themselves. These vampire hunters ask too much of us, and I'm not going to stand for it. Damned be their agent.
I see your point. We do pour our hearts and souls into what we create, after all. Look, perhaps we can compromise with them. Instead of sending them in cheap inferior armour, perhaps we can give them something a little more middle of the road?
Sorry, Garen. My mind's made up. Our forges are overworked as it is at the moment.
Agreed. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to visit the North Forge to discuss the special order from the Grand Mage Artem. Apparently, he needs some staves he can enchant for a special mission he's about to undertake with his apprentice.
Very well. Report back to me when you're finished. I've some paperwork to finish up here, and then I'll be sending correspondence to the Monarch's Chamber Council.
Very good. I'll speak with you later.
Garen leaves the office with Geoffrey on his own. His demeanour changes, but so too does his appearance, and the truth reveals itself. It seems Garen is much easier to manipulate than I first anticipated. Good. He will become a most useful stool pigeon for our scheme. The good news is Maximus has the dagger, and we are one step closer to our desired victory. The monarchy is doomed. Will Tarvek succeed in reuniting the Vampire Council? Will Volkov have greater problems on his hands? Just how significant is the dagger? And is it even genuine like Maximus has been told? Also, what has happened to the real Geoffrey of Trigon, a man usually so loyal to the monarchy that his alleged change of heart towards the vampire hunters should have told Garen to stand firm. It seems everything is going in the right direction for the vampires, and as the clock ticks down to the Blood Harvest Ball, it seems time is also ticking downwards for the monarchy and its people. News is travelling fast around the city of Necrotia. It appears that the knowledge of a traitor amongst the Vampire Council has leaked. Many suspect that Lord Volkov has put about this rumour to force the hand of the other council members, either to remain loyal to him or to accelerate any plot they may have, thus causing them to make a mistake. Volkov is concerned that matters are moving too slowly, and has dispatched one of his loyal servants to deal with the problem. However, he needs someone with tact and guile. General Jericho is definitely not the vampire for this task. His heavy-handed methods leave a lot to be desired, and his tone of voice is considered undiplomatic. Therefore, Tarvek has been chosen for the task. At the moment, he is meeting with Aranax, Strack, and Karek to try and smooth over troubled waters. These are the three vampires he needs on Lord Volkov's side.
So, you see, gentlemen, Lord Volkov needs your undivided loyalty. The Council needs to be united as one. Boris is but a cog in a great machine, and our Lord and Master shall not tolerate his insolence. I don't see why we should support Lord Volkov. He has brought us nothing. We are nowhere closer to finding this supposed crown of the Tyrant King, even if it exists.
I agree with Aranax. It is necessary to take all things into account. We need to consider the fact that Lord Volkov has led us for over 700 years, and has nothing to show for it.
However, gentlemen, let us not forget that he does have the support of the Ancient One. And if the Ancient One has faith in Volkov, perhaps we ought to at least consider the possibility that results are becoming apparent.
We have received word that Maximus has acquired the dagger used to kill General Clark and wielded by the Tyrant King himself. If that is so, then we can have every confidence that the first cut shall be made as per the prophecy.
Let us not be too hasty. We do not yet know if the dagger is truly genuine. We only have the word of Maximus that it is. Knowing he is a son of Volkov, he may be using this tale to garner influence for himself and his father.
When Maximus brings the dagger to the city, I believe we must examine the artifact with the utmost scrutiny. If it is genuine, then we have nothing to gain from our plotting. But if it is fake, then I suggest we hold our cards close to our chests.
You do realize that I have to relay this conversation back to Lord Volkov. And that is why we put a memory draft in your drink. I can see your eyes are getting heavy. Sleep now and forget everything we have discussed.
I suggest we allow Sleeping Beauty to remain here. We must report back to Boris. That dagger must not reach Drevin at any cost.
I agree, regardless of its genuine nature, that the dagger has been found is bad enough. If Volkov presents it to the city for the first cut ceremony, he will be the undoubtful leader of the vampires, and we cannot allow that to happen. With Boris leading, we will have a far stronger council, one that will see an immediate end to the Ondarian monarchy.
Well, Tarvek, please tell me that the memory draft has had no effect upon you.
Those fools forget I am not entirely vampire. I am a serpent-born vampire. Therefore, I am immune to toxins. I have heard every single thing they have said. They confirm that Boris plans to overthrow you, and they plan to stop Maximus from bringing in the dagger to the city. Well, that's a pity for them, because the dagger is already here, Tarvek.
Indeed. Maximus made certain to bring the dagger immediately to the secure vault.
Those fools are so blinded by the treachery of Boris that they fail to remember one thing. Maximus has the ability to travel instantaneously from one location to another. If they think he's going to travel around with an artifact as important as the dagger of the Tyrant King until the day of the Blood Harvest Ball and the first cut, then they are much more foolish than I realized. I am impressed at the speed and due diligence carried out by Maximus. Though what will he do now?
His search for the crown continues. He will travel along the roads to each city to find clues towards its exact location. The caravan is working as the perfect cover, plus it's bringing some extra coin along the way to help fund the Blood Harvest Ball. Personally, I never believed the entire endeavor would be as popular as it's proving to be.
Ah, yes. I am aware of this project, as you call it. Though what it may be a projection of, I do not fully understand. It matters not. We have the dagger. It is safe and protected. The traitors are unaware of its delivery to the city, and therefore we can act accordingly to our own plans to counter their treason. So, my lord, what do you think we should do about Boris and his followers? Personally, I would like to deal with them myself in my own special manner. I have plenty of ideas I can come up with that would be both creative and tormenting for them to experience.
For the time being, Jericho, Tarvek, we do nothing at all. They don't know we have the dagger already, and Maximus is going to act as the decoy. His guards are highly trained to fight off assassins and attackers. He's picked the best of the best for his mission out there on the road. He may appear to be at first, but my son is no fool. He knows what he's doing.
And then we strike.
Then we strike. Boris has long been a cause for concern, but now he is making his move. The only problem for him is that he is putting himself into checkmate.
I look forward to it, my lord.
Now, if you excuse me, I have an astral projection to perform. It is no surprise that we turn our attention to Maximus, who at the moment is busy drowning his sorrows in one of the taverns in Garrelos. The last few performances have not, it seems, gone according to plan, and now he finds himself short of coin. He needs to make some quick cash if he wants to make sure he can pay his performers and the rest of his staff. It just so happens that an opportunity may have come staggering through the door.
Barkeep! Barkeep! Where are you with beer? Serve me new.
Well now, it looks like I may have found myself an easy target. The drunkard spots Maximus looking at him and staggers over to talk.
Eh? You're looking at me, eh? Feeling sorry for poor old Clipsy Bobblong.
I beg your pardon?
That's right. That's my name. Trap Groggle Bear.
Well, okay. Say, I tell you what, how would you like to help me make some easy coin?
Make you some easy coin?
There's an ale in it for you if you do.
Then spike friend, tell old Yelf to get out what he can do for bear.
See that rather wealthy-looking man sitting in the corner over there? He dropped his dagger in the street. I think he would give you a beer if you returned it to him. But you have to return it to him in a special way.
How?
Well, you see, he has a special storage compartment in his back. All you have to do is place the blade into his back. It may take several attempts to get it right, but once you're done, I'm sure he will be most grateful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for that. I'll do what you said. I can see him leave now. I'll take the dagger and I'll return it to him.
Wait for him to go down the alleyway. That way you have the best chance of returning it to him. And remember, you may not find the slot on your first attempt, so try several times. No, plebs gov. Have the beer waiting for me. What a complete idiot. Once he's performed the task, I simply have to locate him, act as a witness to the murder. He's so drunk he won't even remember who told him to do it. All I have to do is collect a bounty that will no doubt be set upon the discovery of the body. I just need to bide my time. Give it a few minutes. He'll be easy to find once he realises he's been tricked, because I know exactly where he will go to hide. The caravan. Wait a minute. Looks like my new friend has dropped something. I don't think I need to bother about that bounty. If I'm not mistaken, this is something far more precious and might help garner some more support from my father. If I sell it to the right person, I could make enough coin to pay off my people for months, and enough to send back to support the Blood Harvest Ball. It's funny, but I almost forgot about that event. I should be on the lookout for things I can send back to Drevin for the ball. Perhaps this little trinket will help me along the way. Mind you, I think I'll collect the bounty anyway, just for some extra pocket money. Meanwhile, in the Forest Realm, General Treek is discussing a matter of importance with Governor Parvin over the illegal mining of crystals in the mountains to the west. It appears infiltrators unknown have managed to slip past the border forts and have successfully accessed one of the long-disused ancient mines. However, it's what was taken from the mine that concerns the General much more than the infiltration.
And you say these crimson rubies are of great importance?
That is correct. Without them, we are unable to accurately run our map rooms.
Map rooms? How does a crimson ruby help with your map rooms?
We need these rubies to focus sunlight safely through the room to protect the integrity of all the maps they contain. Red light protects them due to their ancient nature.
I see. Fascinating. Do you have any suspects?
There is only one group I can think of who would want crimson rubies. The vampires. No doubt Lord Volkov in Necrotia has a plan to use them.
I don't understand. What would the vampires want with rubies? What would they use them for?
In the central province, or as you know it, the monarchy, they are known as blood rubies. Such is their rich, deep red nature. I can only imagine the vampires need them for some nefarious scheme, such as their unique properties.
Perhaps they just want to make them into jewellery.
Would you please stop to listen to yourself for a moment? Whilst vampires adore jewellery, these particular rubies cannot be cut to the size most jewellers work with. They are used as focusing lenses. That is very much all they're good for, which means the vampires are planning something.
Shriek! I think you're panicking too early. We don't even know if it was the vampires who infiltrated the forest realm. We don't even know if they were ones who accessed the mine. Look, let me put some of my people onto it to investigate if it will put your mind at ease.
With your permission, Governor, I wish to carry out my own investigation. Whilst you represent the monarchy here in Varuna, this city is still under the leadership of the Governess Royal. Therefore, my people still rule over Juridia.
Juridia?
Don't make me explain myself to you, Governor. We have tolerated the occupation of the monarchy for centuries. The threat of the vampires now begins to show cracks in your leadership, and in time we could take this land back from you whenever we wish.
I see. So, that's how it's going to be, is it, Trick? Then I suggest you had better move forward and get your investigation underway. I expect a full copy of your report once it is completed.
You shall, Governor. You shall.
Pathetic fool. His arrogance blinds him to the real truth. The Ondarian monarchy can't even see it. We're beginning to slowly take control of each province, right under their noses. And when the time is right, we shall reveal ourselves and take full control in the name of Lord Volkov.
It shall be all the sweeter when it happens. The monarchy shall never expect it.
My lord, I am honoured that you have taken time to come to me.
I am not actually with you for once. I am projecting myself using my psychic energy. We need more blood rubies. The machine cannot be finished without the set amount.
Trick has begun an investigation. He already suspects we are behind the illegal mining operations. I will have to think of false leads to send his people along to make sure he never reaches the truth.
Just so long as we receive those rubies, the Blood Harvest Ball's preparation is still underway, and we need the machine to be fully functioning as part of the ceremony of the first cut. Do I make myself clear?
I understand, my lord. It shall be so. We shall have the victory we deserve, and Drevin shall have the ball it has always wanted to host as a primary city.
Good. Do not fail me, Governor. I need you alive in order to accomplish my goals. The vampire race is counting upon you.
That's exactly what worries me the most. If I screw this up, Volkov will have my head.
And so, the plot thickens. With the associates of Boris split now between whether or not to continue supporting him or support Volkov, it is going to be an easy task for Volkov to work upon them gradually, and hopefully have them fully loyal by the time of the ball. What of the trinket or artifact dropped by the drunkard and found by Maximus? What is its significance, and moreover, what exactly is it to begin with? Why is it worth a lot of coin? Just how is it even connected to the vampires? Will we ever know for certain? All we know is that it is important to Maximus. And what of the vampire scheme in the forest realm? Just what is the machine that requires crimson rubies designed for? Again, what is the connection between them and the blood harvest? In time, things will become clear, but for now, questions must remain unanswered until the time is right.
Panic has begun to spread within the monarchy. Somehow knowledge of the blood harvest and the associated ball has found its way into common knowledge. However, the vampires are using this to their advantage, as it has now pushed the vampire hunters into a very difficult position. It seems that the number of vampires in existence has been wildly inaccurate, and that there are many more for the somewhat unprepared secret order to deal with. Therefore, with the help of Maximus, false information is being put around the monarchy through networks of underworld allies that are stretching their new enemies' resources to breaking point. The vampire hunters are now facing a crisis. Go public and force a recruitment drive, or remain in the shadows as per their founder's instructions, and face potential annihilation. I'm telling you, the vampires have knowledge of the workings of our order. They must have an agent in our ranks.
Nonsense, Dante. It's impossible for a vampire to infiltrate the ranks of the Ordo Interritum. We are very careful indeed to vet every newcomer.
I still don't like it. The enemy has been working against us now, and we are stretched to our very limit. I'm even getting word that some of our agents are being taken out before they can complete their mission.
Is that so, Dante? Interesting. Because I've not been told anything of the sort. You're panicking over nothing. I can assure you that. It is true we are likely to lose a few agents out in the field, but we have to account for such things. I'm sure we have plenty of others who are eager to take out their worst vampire.
We have to go public. It's the only way to ensure we have enough recruits to carry out our task.
Dante, listen to yourself. The Ordo Interritum is a secret, not to mention sacred, organization put into place to fight the vampire menace from the shadows. If we go public, then we reveal ourselves and will be unable to operate in such a way that enables us to complete our missions. No, we must not go public.
We're bound to lose far more vampire hunters if we don't. We currently have around 1,000 operatives, but at the rate we're losing them, it's faster than we can recruit. Before we know it, the vampire hunters will cease to exist, which is what Volkov wants.
And how is this fool's errand of yours going? Sending an agent into the very heart of the beast? I sincerely hope you know what you're doing.
Oh yes, we've received everything we need from Trigon. The beast at the top, then the rest of their little
empire shall crumble. And you insist that the best time to do this will be the Blood Harvest Ball? Absolutely. All the vampire elite will be there. Our agent is deposed as a slave servant, and once they can get close enough to Volkov, they can dispatch him quickly and quietly. And when the vampires realize he's dead, there will be a power vacuum followed by a long struggle. I see. You seem to have thought about it quite deeply then. I've thought about it for a long time. We need to act fast and destabilize the vampires from the top downwards. The Blood Harvest Ball will be the perfect time to do so. Then you have my blessings to continue. I suggest you attend to your duties and prepare for the next phase of your plan. But remember, should anything go wrong, you are responsible for all of this. I cannot protect you if your agent fails. I understand. I shall return to my duties and keep you informed of the progress gained and the ground covered.
It's safe for you to come out. That idiot has left.
So, he thinks he can assassinate my father, does he? Good job we're 2 steps ahead of him. My father and I have already contacted the Shadow Court to gain assistance of its Assassins Guild.
I honestly can't wait to see Dante's face when he realises he's been duped. We're really pulling the wool over his eyes.
He's so obsessed with his plan succeeding, he can't see the real threat in front of him. And that's how we're playing this game.
It's ironic just how close to the truth he is about there being a vampire within the ranks of the vampire hunters. He's as much of a fool than I anticipated. When he realises the betrayal has come from within, he'll be one of the first to run and hide. The first to lick his wounds in an attempt to rebuild what's been lost. But here's the thing. The damage will be done. The people of the monarchy will no longer be trusting of the vampire hunters.
Which leaves us free to make our move. My father has been waiting for that day to come for a very, very long time. The Blood Harvest Ball is just the tip of the iceberg too. It will mark the beginning of a new age. The rise of the vampires into a new, powerful force.
What of the crown of the Tyrant King? Are we any closer to finding it?
That is something I'm dealing with using the caravan as a cover story. At the moment, my investigation is kind of ground to an halt, but I hope to pick it up again.
I hear you're having trouble recruiting for the caravan. Is that true?
That is irrelevant at this point in time. However, yes, it is true. The caravan is not growing with performers or support crew as I anticipated. It seems people are somewhat reluctant to come forward to me. I also continue to lead by example and keep the current cast of performers safe and well looked after. However, we're getting way off topic here. Let us continue to focus upon what we need to do next.
Indeed. I need to know what my part in this scheme is after all.
You will continue to refuse to make the vampire hunters public knowledge. Keep working on the other high-ranking members too. It seems only Dante wants the people to know about the Order, and whilst that would overwhelm them, it would also be a problem for us.
Thinking about it, surely it would be a good thing. If the Ordo Interritum went public, it would become a quagmire of false accusation amongst neighbours, friends and family. We would have people turning against one another, like the witch hunts recorded during the days of the Antius Empire.
Whilst I agree with you, we need the air of secrecy to remain. By doing so, it creates a huge level of mistrust in the hearts and minds of the public. Anyone then could be a vampire hunter. By keeping the Ordo Interritum secret, it creates conspiracy theories that we want to keep pushing. We want the people to be nervous. We want the people to be watchful. We want the people to be slowly turned against the Order, so that any stranger who arrives suddenly might be treated with disrespect until they can prove themselves not to be a hunter. Understand?
Aye, it does make sense. Very well. I shall continue to work upon the other members and undermine Dante every time he speaks of going public. Very well, Maximus.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have rehearsals to view with the caravan. The twins are putting on their big performance tonight, and I don't want to miss it. With the vampire hunters on the verge of chaotic breakdown of command, thanks to the infiltration of the enemy, it seems time is wearing thin for Dante and his newfound protege. Whilst we know what is awaiting the new agent upon arrival to Necrotia, it appears Volkov is planning so much more to bring down the enemy from within. However, whilst turmoil is brewing in Ondar City, it seems there is concern rising in the town of Kali within the Desert Realm. Arik, the leader of the bardic studies at the Academy and an associate of Maximus, is finding out for himself from Rafik just how demanding the vampires can be.
So, what is this Blood Harvest Ball I keep hearing Maximus bang on about every time I see him? He never tells me, so I just smile and nod.
If Maximus wanted you to know the full details, he would tell you directly. However, I can inform you that I am here on the instructions of Maximus.
I've already told him I am unable to send dancers to the caravan. Since Cassandra left, I've been unable to carry out his instructions. He'll have to recruit without my help. It'll be harder for him, I understand that, but Alina is beginning to ask questions, and I don't want to arouse suspicion. We could only keep up with the request as long as Cassandra remained here. We have no idea when she will return.
Arik, I am not here to talk about the recruitment of dancers. Although he would be very appreciative if he were able to receive a few more from you, he shall be most disappointed to hear that Cassandra has moved onwards.
Then why are you here? What is it you need?
I am here on business for the Blood Harvest Ball.
Well, don't expect me to be recruiting any musicians, bards or jesters for you. I've put my neck on the line enough with Alina and her dance students.
I am not here to discuss Academy arrangements, but I am here to discuss what is kept in the Academy vaults. For is there not a scroll of summoning placed within that would be of great use to Lord Volkov?
That scroll was locked away centuries ago, and you know it is forbidden for anyone to access it. Besides, I've heard through our contacts that he's allegedly made contact with Chimera. So why does he need the summoning scroll?
Because you know it is not a daemon that the scroll summons. It is something much more powerful than that.
Oh, that scroll. No, out of the question. I'm okay with sending Maximus dancers for the caravan, but I'm not going to help him gain power by giving him that scroll.
It's for Lord Volkov.
Oh, well that's different then. The answer's still no.
It's not like you have a choice. Maximus holds a debt over you, don't forget, and failure to abide by his request is to forfeit that debt and put you directly upon his personal hit list.
You really think you can threaten me when you yourself are indebted to him too? What makes you think you can put such pressure upon me to help you?
Whilst I'm indebted to Maximus as you are, I also know that to anger him is to sign my own death sentence. By working for him, I am protected from the wrath of Corvus, for Maximus is making sure I am kept busy and out of the way of the prying eyes of the Shadow Court. What do you have?
Well, I have nothing except my position here at the Academy, which I could easily lose without the help of a treacherous vampire like Maximus. I only helped him because I felt it would help bring more people to the Academy.
You helped because you were expecting a cut of the profits, a finder's fee as it were, yet Maximus has you over a barrel, and now he sends me to collect. If you know what is best for you, I suggest you help me gain access to the vault, and acquire the scroll for the blood harvest ceremony.
Fine. But I don't want to see you or Maximus here ever again. This is the last favour I'll do for either of you. As far as I'm concerned, my contract with him is ended after this. No more dancers, no more supporting him, nothing. He's on his own as far as I'm concerned regarding the caravan recruits.
I am sure Maximus will be most interested to hear this. I believe he has the final say as when your contract finally ends. However, I am certain he will be in contact with you to discuss this, and you would be able to tell him personally, yourself.
It would be my absolute pleasure to tell him face to face. Come on then, don't just stand there on ceremony, we have a scroll to find. Follow me, be quick and silent. We don't want to let anyone else know what we're up to. I'm taking a huge risk for you right now.
I appreciate it so very much. So very much indeed.
With Rafik and Arik about to break into the protected vaults of the Academy, we leave them behind with questions we need to consider. What is the secret of the scroll Maximus wants to present to his father? Why is it so powerful, and just who does it summon? Will Arik come to realize that to upset Maximus in breaking an unbreakable contract will bring much more than just pain and suffering? Will he listen to reason and reconsider his position? Time will reveal these and more for the Bardic Master. However, a much more pressing matter is at hand, and Maximus himself is most unhappy. He is back with the caravan and awaiting delivery of the scroll, though that will be some time before it is in his hands. To make the most of things, he has decided to read through his correspondence, most of which is from Necrotia, signed by his father. Beside him sits his personal assistant Cain, a potent and somewhat quick-to-violent vampire, who it seems has every respect for Maximus and will only listen to him.
Look at this, Cain. It's ridiculous. Where am I going to find 1,000? You know something? I don't know why I even bother. The majority of these letters are from the Grand Circle, and I report back regularly to my father to update him on my progress. It's not like he doesn't know what's going on.
Is he the one writing those letters, though, Maximus? How many come directly from him?
None of them come from him. This one, for example, comes from my no-good brother, Valner. He wants me to organise 1,000 performing. You know what? It's too much even for me to read anymore. I struggle as it is to find dancers for the caravan, so I don't know where I'm going to find that lot for him.
Is it for the Blood Harvest Ball? I understand there's going to be an array of entertainment for the guests that night.
Ironically, this isn't for the ball. This is one of his own sordid little experiments. I'm sure the obedience machine has actually worked. Well, it has in that he obeys our father, but it only seems to have made him much more depraved in other, much grimmer ways.
Well, here's one for the Blood Harvest Ball, and it does come directly from your father. Oh, it appears that it's written in some form of code.
Let's see. Ho 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 ho! Very clever, father. Very clever indeed.
You understand it?
I do. I won't tell you what he said, but I can tell you that the language it's written in is that of the Antaeus Empire. It's a lost language only a select few of us vampires know. If this letter fell into the hands of the Ondarian monarchy, it would drive their cryptographers insane trying to work out what it says. The imperial language was outlawed soon after its fall, and the new language enforced onto the people.
And as you said, only a few vampires now know it?
That's pretty much it. Fortunately, my father felt it was best for one of his sons to learn the language. And fortunately, he made the wise decision of teaching it to me. My brother is hardly the type to go in for heavy-handed infiltration, espionage, extortion, blackmail, smuggling, and all-round violence. He's not that type of vampire. That's why he and Jericho don't get on.
I didn't think you got on with Jericho either, though.
There is a mutual respect. We don't converse, and we are certainly not friends. Jericho is similar, but with a militant mind, whereas I have a criminal mind.
Surely then he wants you in prison. You're bound to be considered a menace to vampire society.
On the contrary, I'm highly respected in vampire society. Many of our kinfolk come to me for the retrieval of personal items stolen long ago, when they were driven out of their own cities. Usually the items are worn by the current nobility, and I am paid handsomely to repatriate them into the hands of their rightful owners.
So, what does Jericho want of you?
He wants me held on a very short leash. he feels I'd be better serving in the city than out in the field. What he forgets is that I am able to blend in much easier with the humans of the monarchy, and therefore find myself amongst the more polite society. This grants me access to the nobility of the cities.
And then you pinch their stuff from them?
And then I pinch. Don't be so vulgar. The term is repatriate. I repatriate their stolen items.
Sorry I spoke.
Granted. Now, if you're finished, I suggest you sit down and shut up, whilst I finish going through all these letters. Well, what do you know?
Eh?
It doesn't matter. Just a letter from someone I've not heard from in a very long time. I wonder what they want from me.
Probably an artifact retrieval?
Probably more than likely, but I have my doubts. This is someone from outside the Grand Circle, but still just as important. However, this is one I need to read in private.
I get the message. I'll go and see how the cooks are doing. I hear we've got something good on the menu tonight, but they're keeping it a surprise.
Good. Don't spoil it for me if you find out. You know how I appreciate their cooking. Now, to get on with reading through these letters. So, what exactly have you got to tell me, Father? And just why is my sister writing to me as of now? What does she want? Things are becoming much more interesting and much more complicated for Maximus, it seems. Whilst he is out on the road, he has become a travelling retrieval service for his fellow vampires. With the Blood Harvest Ball on its way, he is definitely going to have his work cut out for him with the number of requests he's bound to receive on the night. 3 mysteries remain for Maximus, of course. What is it exactly Valna wants 1,000 of, and for what purpose? What is so important that Volkov has written to Maximus using an ancient language long forgotten by the monarchy? Where has Maximus and Valna's sister been all this time? Why is she suddenly appearing as of now? Clearly the Blood Harvest Ball has caught her attention, and she wishes to build bridges again with her estranged family. Will we learn the secret of the scroll from the Academy Vault? Will the vampire hunters discover the treachery within its own ranks, or will it be discovered when it is already too late? Only time will tell as to what all these events mean, and to just how big an impact they will have. The only thing that is known for certain is that the Blood Harvest Ball is going to be an event the Ondarian monarchy will never forget. Having spoken with the other leaders of the Grand Council, it seems Tarvek has some good news for Lord Volkov. Necrotia, it seems, however, is as busy as ever, and the preparations for the Blood Harvest Ball continue unabated. Volkov welcomes his guest into his personal chamber, a rare honour that only the most elite of vampires are granted. This indicates to Tarvek that something big is about to take place. So, tell me, Tarvek, do we have good news?
Excellent news, my lord. I have successfully convinced Aranax, Strax, and Karek
to support you in the Blood Harvest Ball. You will have no further opposition from them.
Good. It seems, however, we have another dissenter amongst the Vampire Council. Algar is causing us problems, and he must be dealt with.
Algar is easy to deal with. He is old, though not as old as the Ancient One. He fails and refuses to see the bigger picture. He is the only vampire who now supports Boris, and therefore stands alone amongst the rest of the council.
And he will not be persuaded to see things from my point of view?
He doesn't need to. We can dispatch both him and Boris during the Blood Harvest Ball and blame the vampire hunter spy. Then we can put it out as a failed hit against you, thus garnering support from the vampire community. Everything can work to our advantage. We just need to let the visiting assassins from the guild know what needs to be done.
Maximus is already arranging that. I can send word to him quickly of this new line of events. It will not be difficult to make alterations. We still have time to perfect it.
As you wish, my lord.
You have something else to tell me.
Yes, and unfortunately, it's not good news. Things have become a tad complicated in Kali.
I don't see why that should concern me. Cully is the responsibility of Maximus. He is the one with interest in the town in the name of his caravan.
Well, apart from that, he's discovered that the Academy holds a powerful summoning scroll in its vaults. One that is integral to the Blood Harvest Ball. It seems that with Cassandra the Vampire Dancer leaving the Academy, it has caused his contact Arik to become much more emboldened. He is refusing to help Maximus retrieve it.
I see. You say this scroll is integral to the ceremony, the one we intend to perform at the ball.
That is correct, my lord. I understand Maximus is persuading Arik to help him retrieve the scroll. However, you know how sketchy information can be when being sent from the outside world. It is never entirely accurate.
Indeed. I'm certain Maximus knows what he is doing.
I understand he is working with a rather roguish individual named Rafik. Someone who used to work for the Shadow Court, but now owes Maximus a huge debt.
I have little time for the affairs of my son. What he does with his own business is none of my concern. as long as he respects and obeys me. That is what is most important. Now we turn away from Lord Volkov and the vampires, and over to a much more interesting situation, for it seems news of the blood harvest has reached the city of Drakenberg, capital city of Draconis, better known as the Firelands. The Dragon Lord is intrigued by this event, and is speaking with his Dragon Minister about it.
What is this I hear of the vampires carrying out a special event? Why were the dragons not invited?
My master, it is a vampire event only. They are celebrating the first blood harvest with tasting from the reservoir under the city of Drebin. Besides, if the dragons were in attendance, would that not put the monarchy on alert? We must be patient for Volkov's signal.
I grow tired of waiting. The envoy has yet to arrive still. We have not heard anything from Drebin for months now.
My lord, the dragons are deeply respected by the vampires. Even I know that to reach the Firelands it may take months to find a captain brave enough to enter the port within our lands. My people and the dragons themselves are not the most welcoming of races, are we? I have advised that my own kind act with a little more decorum when strangers arrive in our land. I dare not speak out against you and your fellow dragons.
I am satisfied with your response, regardless of the fact that the envoy has not arrived. We still need to get word to and from Volkov. I expect you to see that, of course.
I will honor your command and commit it to my task. We shall receive word from Drebin in due course. I assure you of that.
Good, because if we don't, I shall personally light the pyre underneath you whilst you are still struggling within your death shroud.
I understand, my lord. I totally understand.
There you are. Good. I've been wondering where you've got to.
Well, quite. I go caught in the storm, crossing the sea. I had to board a ship in Port Allen. Too many questions would have been asked in Port Nightsong.
I don't care about that. What news have you brought me from the city of Necrotia?
Well, Volkov has managed to help to sway 3 of the members back to the Grand Council. But there is still one supporting Boris.
4. I need Volkov to have majority support of the council. The blood harvest must go ahead.
Well, either way, Boris still plans to stop Maximus from bringing the dagger of the Tyrant King to the city. Then Volkov won't be able to make the first cut ceremony, and then can be overthrown as a weak leader.
Do you ever stop to listen to yourself? It sounds to me that you hold too much confidence in the downfall of Volkov. I have known him for a very long time, and I happen to know he is resourceful. Besides, I want him to carry out the ritual. I understand he will be summoning a particular individual as part of the event.
Well, first I've heard of it. I can make sure to let Boris know, and then he can be stopped.
You really are a total idiot, aren't you? The summoning will be a signal to the dragons. Without it, we will have no knowledge of the next phase of the plan. That dagger must and will get to Necrotia, and the summoning will take place at the Blood Harvest Ball. If I find out that either has been stopped, then the dragons are not only going to attack the monarchy, but will also attack every vampire along the way.
But Maximus and Volkov must be stopped.
Silence! You have irritated me for far too long. Return from whence you came and do not darken this realm again. I will expect the vampire envoy and the news of Volkov's success. Because if I receive neither, I will make it very clear to the vampire race who betrayed them. Both you and Boris had best watch your backs and sleep with a single eye open, because I can tell you now that neither of you will ever have the support of the dragons.
As the word of the Dragon Lord rings in the ears of his masked visitor, we turn our attention to yet another faction, taking interest in the vampire's schemes. However, it seems that this circle of mages have been charged with the mission to ensure that even if they can't stop the vampire scourge in its tracks, they can perhaps slow it down. This particular circle is aware of the vampire hunters and appears to be working against them, for it seems they believe the vampires play an important role in the future of the Ondarian monarchy, and it is a future they wish to instigate for their own selfish means. One of the members of the group is the Grand Mage himself, Artem, though without Dira, his apprentice, whom he has clearly left back at the council chambers in Ondar City. I can assure you that the threat of the vampires indeed is truly real. However, we need them more than many of our own realize.
I'm not in favor of this idea, to be honest. But I agree, it's our only way of gaining the information we need to retrieve before it's too late.
But surely, if we are not careful, the monarch could discover our ruse and put a stop to it.
Ah, but the monarch does not suspect anything from the Mage Council. As far as they are concerned, we are simply studious towards understanding the universe and the world around us. They do not suspect that our existence has been building up for this moment.
It was written long ago in the days of the Antaeus Empire that a great power would rise to sup the blood of the innocent, that with whom they serve would be integral to the safety of the power which is to follow.
But an empire didn't rise when the old one fell. The monarchy was formed along with Jordinia and Carletti.
This much is true, but remember that it did not perceive a direct correlation to a new empire. It merely states that in the prophecy the power that is to follow, not the empire.
I still don't understand, Artem. How are we becoming involved in all of this? We are actually aiding the vampires in their scheme. Are we betraying the monarchy?
We are not aiding the vampires. We are most certainly not betraying the monarchy.
The blood harvest is the perfect time to witness vampire activity and to understand their inner circle.
Their inner circle. That would mean we would have to infiltrate their society. There's not a mage brave or foolish enough to walk right into Necrotia and take up residence there.
I agree. Any thought of attending the Blood Harvest Ball would be suicidal. We can't condone such a course of action, Artem.
Artem isn't talking about sending a mage into the city. I have come up with a solution to this matter, so allow me to explain. The city of Necrotia is protected by powerful sigils that keep us out. However, they cannot keep out a controlled spirit. With my skills, I can create an artificial spirit which we can send in to observe the vampires through the Seer's Mirror. If I manage to balance the energy just right, it will be undetectable to Volkov and his followers.
Grimwald has been working on a formula to create such an entity. We can send it in without it ever being known that it is there watching the vampires. That is, of course, unless they have a particularly powerful psychic amongst them.
But all vampires have psychic abilities. What makes you certain this spirit will not be discovered? I have my doubts this plan will succeed. I suggest we act with caution and make full plans to infiltrate the city of Necrotia after the Blood Harvest Ball.
Then it is a risk we must take. The fate of the Ondarian monarchy and its provinces are in our hands. The vampire hunters are ill-equipped and heavily outnumbered, thankfully. So it is up to us to work out a solution.
I believe we are acting too quickly. We could alert the vampires to our plan, and they will be ready to strike the moment we send the spirit into the palace with one of their traps. That is a risk I personally feel we should not be taking.
The vampire hunters should never have been allowed to exist in the first place. I argued for months against its founding. They undermine the use of magical combat against the creatures of the night.
Be that as it may, they will be dealt with by Volkov and his kin soon. We no longer have to worry about them.
I don't like this cloak and dagger plan. It goes against what the Grand Order of Mages stands for. I'm glad to see you are listening to reason. I would say at least give myself and others time to think things through. I agree with Karem. If we let the hunters deal with the vampires, or vice versa, we can focus on the more important things, like preventing the return of the Tyrant King.
Let us focus on that which we have charged ourselves to carry out, and learn about the Blood Harvest Ball, and the events of the Blood Harvest Ball firsthand.
Whilst the mages plot their every move and prepare to create this artificial spirit, let us once again turn our gaze back onto Maximus. Still with the caravan, he has made his way back to Ondar City to speak with Gideon, his associate once again, for news has reached him of another artifact that would bring him good fortune with his father. For it is another artifact that would be greatly received during the Blood Harvest Ball.
I'm surprised to see you here so quickly, Maximus. Not going to throttle me this time?
As much as I enjoyed the last time, no. Besides, you've clearly learnt your lesson. No mad Cyrillact this time, I noticed.
As soon as I received word you were back in Ondar City on business, I realized you were on your way here for the artifact. I expect you want to see it.
Is it safe?
Oh, it's very safe. Locked away from prying eyes. Come out the back, though there'll be no magic needed to access what I have in store for you.
Ho ho ho! It's more magnificent than I anticipated. And you're sure this is the shield held by the Tyrant King in the final days of the Civil War?
Absolutely. It bears his crest. I understand you already have his dagger. You should have the shield too. 20,000 Krell, and it's yours.
Only 20? With an artifact like this, I'd assume you want more than that.
I know not to double-cross you, Maximus. It's better to give you a fair price directly than to have to haggle with you. Besides, I don't know if my larynx could last much longer when arguing with you.
It's good to know you've learned not to overcharge your best customer. By the way, Octavius sends his regards.
Well, well, well. Octavius Petrovich alive and well. That is a surprise. Where is he located now?
Garalos. He has a small shop, though bigger and better than his brother's.
Did he ask about his brother at all?
Didn't care for him at all. Plus it was him who sold me the dagger. Like you, he dropped the price. Made out too many people turned it down when they discovered its history. But I know when he's lying. He's as bad as his brother for that.
True. Now, how do you want the shield? Wrapped and take it now, or do you want it delivered?
I'll take the shield now. Here's your 20,000 Krell, and for once, Gideon, I'm actually feeling generous. So here's an extra 10,000 Krell tip for yourself, and you can tell Petrovich and watch him stew. I'll get my 100,000 Krell from him eventually, even if he has to work up a whole load of other debts to do it. Perhaps I'll make it harder for him. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Yes, 1,000,000 Krell. That'll put the panic into him. Oh, that will be fun.
Fine, fine. Whatever you want. Thanks for the tip too. Here's the shield. Be sure to keep it safe. There's a lot of trophy hunters after this.
Oh, don't you worry about that. I know exactly where to take it for safekeeping. The same place I took the dagger. Well, Gideon, has he retrieved the shield?
Yes, my lord. He is taking it to the vault in Necrotia.
But what I don't understand is why you are letting him retrieve the artifacts if you already know of them. Why can't you collect them?
Because, unlike him, I am unable to touch them. It's all part of the curse placed upon the items in question. The summoning scroll found in Cully will help to lift that curse, but for now the items will remain safe, hidden in Necrotia.
Then everything is falling into place, and the Blood Harvest Ball will be the perfect place to showcase the power within the artifacts.
Yes. Well, keep me informed if you and Octavius come across any other pieces of the Tyrant King's artifacts.
I shall, my lord. I shall very much indeed.
With another artifact of the Tyrant King being found, is it just possible that his crown might be discovered in the same manner? Could Maximus's quest be for nothing? However, it is not about the Tyrant King. This is about the Blood Harvest Ball. So just how do these artifacts play into the ceremony? Will Volkov finally be able to touch them again? Will the mages finally be able to get their spirit into the event without being discovered? And if it is, what will happen to it and them? Will the vampires use a spell to corrupt them into dark mages? Also, what part will the dragons play, and why are they so keen for the entity to be summoned from the scroll? There are so many questions to be answered, and many of them will not be answered until the night of the Blood Harvest Ball itself. For now, all we know is that many things will happen during this event, and it's bound to be a most exciting time for the vampires when it finally comes to fruition. Anticipation for the Blood Harvest Ball is building in the city of Drevin, better known as Necrotia. Lord Volkov and his court are not the only vampires preparing in advance, for there are other vampires preparing for the Blood Harvest Ball. In one particular house in the streets close to Volkov's palace, a member of the vampire nobility is preparing his outfit with the help of his tailor and the unwanted help from his lover.
I thought this was the city of Necrotia.
Must I tell you again? The Ondarian monarchy calls it Necrotia as a derogatory name. We still refer to it as Drevin, the true name of this city. Try to pay attention, Justina. I didn't turn you to ask ridiculous questions. I chose you as my vampire mistress.
Does that mean I get to go to the Blood Harvest Ball?
As my +1? Of course, but don't show how uncouth you really are. I can't bear the thought of introducing you to Lord Volkov, and your dress is already halfway off.
I'm sure he's quite the charmer. I'm sure I could.
Sure you could do what? Justina, I am not going to have you embarrass me at the Blood Harvest Ball, not when I have such an important gift to present to his lordship.
What are you giving him then?
I am giving him this. It's a strange and potent artifact, or so I'm told. I don't know what it is, nor what it's supposed to do. However, I have it on good authority that within is a talisman of great power, and it will be a truly magnificent gift for Volkov. The vendor told me this when I bought it. She said it contained powers beyond my wildest dreams.
Sounds like mumbo-jumbo to me, Trevi.
Must I remind you again to call me Trevanian, not Trevi? You wish to become a vampire lady, it's high time you started acting like one.
I can tell you're tense, Trevi. What if I were to give you a back rub, would that make you feel better?
It would give me greater pleasure if you were to sit down and be quiet for 5 minutes. We are sitting upon an opportunity not to miss. A gift such as this to Lord Volkov will be the making of me.
What about me? I want the same too.
Oh, you'll get what you deserve, no doubting there.
Oh, good. For a moment, I was worried.
How am I going to pass her off as a lady to Lord Volkov when she's still as common as muck? At least I have time before the Blood Harvest Ball. But it will take magic to work her into something presentable. Hang on a minute. Oh, Justina?
Yes, Travagins?
Look, I need to head out into the city for an hour or two. Do you think you can find something to entertain yourself whilst I'm gone?
I'm sure I could find something to do.
Yes, I get the picture. Honestly, I should have turned her sister. At least she has a personality. I can barely tolerate this one.
How long will you be, Travagins?
As long as I need to be. I have an errand to run, and it will be much quicker if I run it on my own. I'll see you this afternoon.
Okay, Travagins. I'll be waiting.
Now, let's see what you've found to give to my lord on the day of the harvest, Trevanian. Well, now, if I'm not mistaken, that's the crest of Emperor Gladius VI of the Antius Empire. So, you found an ancient artifact. Now, let me look at it closer. Just a moment. I'm studying this artifact that the full Trevanian plans to give it to Lord Volkov on the day of the Blood Harvest Ball. Though, if I'm not mistaken, this looks like an Antius Empire assassination box. When opened, it lets off a deadly, poisonous gas, which can asphyxiate any living creature.
And considering I am undead, it seems pointless Sir Trevanian gifting it to me. He believes it will work upon my person.
Vladimir, I don't know how long I can keep this persona going. He's fallen into my trap of thinking I'm an idiot. But I fear my energy will expire and I will have to let the mask drop eventually.
I doubt that will be necessary. I have an idea regarding this small item. As you may be aware, we have the dagger and the shield of the Tyrant King safely locked away in the palace vault.
I have heard that, yes. It is a great relief. The two artifacts are in our hands.
What you hold in your hand is another item belonging to the Tyrant King.
Do you mean it's not an assassination box?
It is anything but. Contained within is a powerful object known only to a small circle of the most loyal followers of the Tyrant King. I recognize the box. It is disguised as an artifact from the time of the Antius Empire to lower suspicion.
So, what does the box contain?
That is for myself to know, and for you to discover upon the day of the Blood Harvest Ball. I am surprised at how quickly and how well it is all falling into place. I am impressed that we have received little opposition from the monarchy at this time.
They are sending that agent of the vampire hunters, however, to dispatch you in the belief it will free the monarchy from the threat of our kind.
Even if they did destroy me, there are vampires just as ruthless or even more so to take my place. Maximus, for example. He is my heir apparent to the governor's throne of Drevin.
Indeed. However, what must I do now, my lord?
You need to remain here in the guise of a vampire mistress. Trevanion must be kept busy, and on top of that, he must never open the box. The item inside is more powerful than any can imagine, and should he open the box, he will find it destructive in nature. Only a truly ancient vampire can open it and hope to survive the ordeal.
I shall see to it that he never opens the box, and that he safely presents it to you on the day of the Blood Harvest Ball.
Good. Now I must return to the palace. You are serving me well, Justina. Do not let me down like your predecessor did. Their undead life did not end pleasantly for them.
I understand, my lord. Good day.
Once again, Volkov is finding artifacts connected to the Tyrant King. They are finding their way into Necrotia without the aid of Maximus, which brings curious questions to the mind of Lord Volkov. How many of the items are genuine? Maybe they are all fake. Only on the day of the Blood Harvest Ball will the truth be known, when Volkov conducts the ceremony to declare the harvest itself commenced. Meanwhile, in the city of Taros, two other vampires are conversing over a cup of blood wine, whilst they discuss their attendance of the celebration in Drevin. Well, I hear old Volkov is going to be hosting the biggest shindig this side of the Civil War.
Well, it's about time we had something good happen. Everything so far has been so boring.
It'll be good to get out and heckle again.
It'll be good to be doing anything again.
Well, do you remember the time young Maximus brought his troop friends to entertain Lord Volkov?
Well, that was different.
Yep, lousy, but different. Do you remember the time we both visited Ondar City to see that singer who had graduated from the academy as an opera singer?
Do I? No, I don't remember that, to be honest. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I do.
Well, you know, there's nothing like grand opera.
Indeed, and there was nothing like it.
Say, what is this thing all about that old Volk is hosting anyway?
It's called the Blood Harvest Ball.
Blood Harvest Ball? Say, has he completed that reservoir beneath the city then?
Apparently so, and it's full to the brim with fresh content.
I wish this place were filled with fresh content.
Say, what are you going to wear to the ball? I've not been able to find anything I like for it. Though I might dust off my old army uniform.
You fought with the Tyrant King, didn't you?
Well, not literally. He was much bigger than me.
No, you old fool, I meant you fought in his army.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, I fought with him right up until the last battle.
Whatever happened that day exactly?
I don't even really remember. I ended up in the Dynafan den. I've never kept so still in all my life.
Pretty tricky situation to get out of. I guess you had to wait until they were asleep.
Look, can we focus on the ball and what we're going to wear? I think we're going to have to make our own way to the local tailors.
You forget we can't. We're vampires, and if they discover our secret, then we're done for.
Don't worry, they have an overnight service for the more discerning customers. Little does the master tailor know, of course.
Let me guess, at night is vampire run.
Absolutely. Now let's get some ideas for what we want to look like for the ball. I want to knock 'em dead when we walk through that door in our finest outfits.
Well, I guess there's a first time for everything. As we leave these eccentric vampires to their business of finding outfits for the ball, we turn back upon Maximus. He is in a foul mood, and it seems a certain individual is not helping him in any way. He has come face to face with another disgusting individual who is considered to be a thorn in his side, so much so that he even cannot bring himself to say this being's name. By the powers, what do you want?
Greetings to you, Maximus. I doubt I was expected.
You damn well were not. I can assure you that I am not pleased to see you at all.
And why is that?
Because you make me sick.
Oh, come now. I'm not that bad. I have something in which you'll definitely be interested. It is on my trade stand.
Then bring it over here and show me. I'm not getting trapped into buying broken trinkets from places that don't even exist, when I can tell you've made them from whatever you had to hand at the time.
You don't trust me?
I don't trust anybody, especially you. The fact that you've shown your face here makes me sick. I hope this had better be worth my while. I am on the lookout for specific artifacts after all, and I don't have time to deal with the likes of you.
So Maximus doesn't want the Tyrant King's gauntlets?
Is gauntlets?
Quite so. I hear you have his dagger, his shield, and one other potential artifact found through other means.
How do you know these gauntlets are genuine?
I don't, but perhaps put with the dagger and the shield, it will make a nice centerpiece. Who knows, you'll find his entire suit of armor giving time.
Are you trying to be funny? Because let me warn you here and now that I am not in any laughing mood. You had better be serious about these gauntlets, because if not, I won't be responsible for your loss of life.
Come now, Maximus. Just crack a smile. It won't cost you anything. But these gauntlets will. I want 1,000,000 cattle for them.
I tell you what. How about I make this deal with you? I take the gauntlets and get them checked out to check if they're genuine or not. As part of this deal, I let you live, unless of course they turn out to be fake. Do you agree? Good. I can see you nodding. So let's call it quits. Now, as I said, I am taking these so-called Tyrant King gauntlets, and I am going to let you live for now. Okay? Not much later, Maximus has taken the gauntlets to a reliable source who knows much about the Tyrant King and the artifacts surrounding him. When in doubt, return to Ondar City and speak to Gideon. And you say you just took them from him? How much did he want? 1,000,000 crow. Be grateful you didn't pay it. These are fake. Just as I thought. However, I imagine he's halfway across the desert realm by now, heading towards the kingdom of Lioness. I'm sure that is the case, but they hate vampires more than the monarchy, so he won't be able to integrate with them like we have been able to here. Precisely. And that's why before I left him, I placed the mark of the vampire upon his person. His neck, to be precise. When you throttled him? When I throttled him, yes. The mark will be noticeable to everyone but him. He will think he's safe, but as soon as others notice the mark, it will make him wish he told me the truth there and then. I have taken his life in a much kinder manner than the people of Lioness ever will. So what will you do about the gauntlets? I'm going to have them destroyed. You're certain they're fake, of course. Maximus, I have studied and observed the artifacts of the Tyrant King my entire life. If these were his gauntlets, they would have a small crest imprinted onto them. Sometimes onto the surface of the metal, like on the dagger and the shield. They were indeed good finds. My father was most pleased to hear of their discovery. Mind you, I've wondered, just what are these artifacts supposed to do? Are they related to the scroll found in Cully? Will the Tyrant King be returning at the time of the Blood Harvest Ball? Unfortunately, he will not be returning. The scroll that has been received summons a being of lesser power to the Tyrant King. Besides, we need his crown in order to fully summon him, so the scroll will still summon an entity of greater power then. Indeed. Something that lives in the darkness most of the time, but will help to increase the bloodlust of every vampire. It's going to be a glorious day when they arise, and we are there to greet them into the new dawn. The dawning of the vampires. So, the Blood Harvest Ball isn't just about the enjoyment of blood from the reservoir. It's about advancing the vampire race. It's about time you kept your mouth shut and let me continue with my business. I will return to you, Gideon, when you send word of another artifact. I've changed my mind about destroying the gauntlets. I'll be keeping them. I could use a new pair myself anyway. Be seeing you. So the gauntlets turned out to be fake, just like the lover of the vampire nobleman at the beginning of this chapter. Will the two old eccentric vampires find their dream suits and arrive to Necrotia in time to heckle Lord Volkov? And what of the other artifacts? All this and more questions will be raised the closer we get to the Blood Harvest Ball.